Success is a funny thing. Everybody talks about how great it is, how much they admire it, and how much they love to see people winning. But when it's someone they know personally, especially if that person is doing better than them, the energy changes. People who once rooted for you to do well might start acting differently, giving you the cold shoulder. Some might distance themselves, some might downplay your achievements, and others might subtly or not so subtly try to hold you back. It's not that people are inherently bad, don't care about you, or want to see you fail. It's just that when you start doing better than them, it forces them to confront things they might not want to. Your success makes them think about their own missed chances and untapped potential. They start thinking, wow, if they can do it, I should be able to too. But maybe they just don't have the drive, just don't know where to start, or they just have different priorities and are ahead in different ways. Even if they don't say it outright, a lot of people would rather see you doing pretty well, but not too well. Because once you pass a certain level, it starts making them uncomfortable. A big reason people have a hard time with someone else's success is that it makes them question themselves, and that insecurity starts to eat at them. Whether they realize it or not, most people see life as a comparison game. When they see someone they know achieving something big, like getting a better job offer, succeeding in business, or buying a new car, they start measuring their own progress against it. If you and a friend were once on the same level, but now you're excelling, it can make them wonder, why not me? But instead of facing that question head on, a lot of people would rather come up with reasons why your success doesn't count or why it won't last. That's when you start hearing things like, they got lucky, or they probably had connections. Some people will even dismiss your achievements entirely, saying, let's see if they can keep it up. They do this to protect their own egos. If they can convince themselves that your success was based on luck or privilege rather than hard work, intelligence, or risk-taking, it makes them feel better about their own lack of progress. Even in friendships, relationships, and workplaces, there's often an unspoken competition. When people are on similar levels, everything feels balanced, but when one person starts pulling ahead, whether financially, professionally, or even in terms of self-improvement, it can create a lot of tension. You might not see yourself as competing with them, but they start feeling like they have to catch up, or worse, bring you back down. This is when you start noticing lukewarm reactions to your good news, sarcastic remarks, or even a sudden distance that wasn't there before. Some people will try to disguise their discomfort as concern, saying things like, you're working too hard. Are you sure this is worth it? Or, money isn't everything, you know. But what they're really saying is, you're making me feel insecure, and I don't like it. Fear of being left behind is another major reason why people struggle with others' success. When you start leveling up, your interests, mindset, and even the way you spend your time begins to change. That can be scary for the people around you. Friends who used to love hanging out every weekend might feel weird when you start focusing on your business or self-improvement instead of partying. Family members might not understand why you're making different choices. Even longtime coworkers might start acting differently if you get promoted or move on to a better job. Some will react by trying to guilt trip you, saying things like, you don't have time for us anymore, or you think you're better than us now? Others will just quietly fade out of your life because your growth makes them feel uncomfortable. Most people also prefer familiarity, even if that familiarity isn't great. They like routines, predictable outcomes, and knowing what to expect from life, even if it's mediocre. When someone close to them starts breaking out of that pattern, whether by making more money, achieving a dream job, or simply thinking bigger, it disrupts their sense of normalcy. They start asking themselves, if they're doing this, should I be doing more too? And if they're not ready to change, that question can be unsettling. Rather than challenging their own mindset, they find it easier to criticize or distance themselves from the person who's growing. Personal relationships aside, society itself has a tendency to discourage people from standing out too much. This is often called tall poppy syndrome. The idea that when someone rises too high, others try to cut them down, like they're stealing all of the sunshine. People love underdog stories, but often turn on someone once they become too successful. They'll cheer for you when you're struggling, but if you become too successful, suddenly you're arrogant, lucky, or no longer relatable. This happens to celebrities, athletes, and entrepreneurs all the time, but the same pattern plays out on a smaller scale in everyday life. Recognizing these patterns can help you navigate them without getting discouraged. The first step is to pay attention to how people react to your success. Do they celebrate with you, or do they get quiet? Do they encourage you, or do they make sarcastic remarks? True supporters will always be happy for you no matter how much you grow. If someone can't be happy for you, they're showing you their true colors, and it's best to believe them. This jealousy is pretty easy to spot once you start paying attention. It often comes in the form of subtle digs disguised as jokes or constructive criticism. For example, if you land a big promotion, instead of congratulating you, someone might say, "Wow, you sure got lucky," or I guess they were in a hurry to fill that position. They won't directly insult your achievement, but they'll find a way to downplay it, making it seem like it wasn't entirely earned. Another common sign is when someone starts pointing out your flaws or failures more than usual. If you've made a big step forward in life, whether it's financial, career growth, or personal achievements, jealous people often try to humble you by bringing up areas where you're still struggling. If you've started making a lot more money, they might say, "Yeah, but you're probably working so much you have no time for fun." If you've lost weight and gotten in shape, they might comment, "You look great, but don't lose too much, you don't want to look unhealthy." These comments seem harmless on the surface, but they're designed to poke holes in your success so they can feel better about themselves. Jealousy also can reveal itself in the form of unnecessary competition. When you share your success, instead of being happy for you, the jealous person immediately shifts the focus to themselves. If you mention your new promotion, they might begin talking about their own job and how much they're making, and it usually feels forced. If you tell them you're starting a business, they might reply with something like, "My job is so easy, and I get tons of time off." Or maybe you just returned from a vacation you'd been looking forward to for a long time. Instead of asking how it went, they immediately start talking about their next trip, explaining how it's supposedly the best place to visit, making it all about them and implying that it's going to be so much better than yours. The conversation stops being about celebrating each other's achievements and turns into proving that they're still on your level, or better, even when it was never a competition to begin with. At the end of the conversation, you might be left feeling puzzled and mildly insulted. They probably don't think they're being obvious, but this behavior is easy to spot from a mile away. The hard truth is that a lot of relationships are built on shared struggles and similarities, so when you start breaking out of that cycle, it naturally creates distance. Some people will try to hold you back by throwing insults, bragging about themselves, or trying to talk you out of it. Others will slowly drift away, either by never reaching out or by barely responding when you do, because facing their own stagnation is just too uncomfortable, even if they are ahead in different areas of life. It's not that success makes you leave people behind, it's that your growth forces a choice. Evolve with you or stay where they are, and more often than not, they choose to stay. Success can be a lonely road, and even close friends and family might start resenting you as you level up. If you're aiming for success, you have to expect this. That's why so many people try to downplay their achievements, but even if you stay quiet, remain humble, and live modestly, people will still sense it on you. This is why it's so important to surround yourself with people who genuinely support you, share similar passions, and are striving for the same level of growth. It's not about disliking the people you're leaving behind. It's about recognizing that they might not like your success. Whether on purpose or not, they'll try to bring you down, and that kind of energy can hold you back from reaching your full potential. The reality is that most people don't want you to be more successful than them. They might be fine with you doing well, but only as long as it doesn't make them feel insecure or left behind. They always want to be ahead. This doesn't mean you should be bitter or assume everyone is against you, but it does mean you should be aware of how people react to your growth and adjust your relationships accordingly. At the end of the day, success isn't about making others comfortable. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, no matter who supports you or who falls away in the process. Keep going, keep growing, and never let the fear of making others uncomfortable hold you back.